Oh, and then the light is going to be dimmed at some point when they're all lit.
Oh.
Maybe, right, but then you should be over here so that,
Yeah.
oh no, but yeah. So
I'm
just,
going to do the Hanukkah blessings here, a cappella.
and you know them anyway, so.
Yeah. And then
okay.
I'm going to go back and
I thought you might not have enough lights, but you'll be fine.
Hi, I'm Leslie Berger.
Hi, Leslie. Nice to meet you.
Getting over a cold.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
So when we get to 0 on the counting clock, Sue is just going to begin with the Nigun. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I look forward to eating sufganiyot with you later.
Where's the... Shabbat Shalom. Last time.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's great to be together. You know that I'm a big believer in both and. So this is both Shabbat and Hanukkah. And it's both a happy time and a time of continued concern about Israel and people there and in Gaza. So we're going to do our best to be cheerful, but to be aware of the world so we don't just pretend we're living in a bubble. I'll make a couple comments later about remarks that I heard of people that are related to some individuals that are hostages. Just an allusion because it is Shabbat. But it's important, their message was for us to remember them and to keep working to keep their plight in the public eye. We begin. This is in the spirit of this Sunday being the big Hanukkah program that a few of us have been working on, and Sue will be our guest musical educator that day. And we have Alyssa and Robert who teach in the school. Well, Robert teaches, Alyssa runs, used to teach. Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us. Love of Torah, devotion in prayer. Wait, and Maura Milhander teaches in the school too. Okay, sorry. You could tell I was ad-libbing. May the children learn love of Torah, devotion in prayer, and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us all, God, with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy. Baruch atah Adonai she'otcha levadcha b'yira na'avod. It is now time to hear about the events going on in our community from our president, Leslie Berger.
Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach Hanukkah. My name is Leslie Berger, President of Temple Beth Or. I want to thank Joanne Kotkin and the Ways and Means Committee for the fun night we had last Saturday for latkes and vodka. Karaoke was the most fun part of the evening, and if you couldn't make it this year, hopefully you can come next year. On Tuesday evening at 6 p.m., Rabbi Muroff will be lighting the menorah at the Main Place Mall in Santa Ana. So please come if you're able. Sisterhood is challenging our members to continue to donate to the Safety and Security Fund and will pledge up to $10,000 in matching donations until December 31st. So send your donations in. Next Friday is a special service honoring a couple of people, Alyssa and Robert, for their upcoming wedding. Mazel tov. Please remember to register for Mushu Jew by December 19th on our website. If you have any questions or problems, please call Debbie. She'd be happy to help you in the office. Thank you, Rabbi Len, for services tonight, and welcome to our guest soloist, Sue Epstein. And thank you for your voice, and thank you, Dr. Ray, for your beautiful music. Thanks to our tech team, Phil Carey, David Youngman, and Chris Strastrock, and of course, Susan Carey for running the chat on YouTube. Thanks to our ushers, Sergio Sanchez Guzman and Joe Gorin. Our emergency exits are to the right, through the double doors, to my left, behind the tech table. Slides. We have Shabbat greetings from Rita and Bob Rubin and Jeff and Wilma Shear. Thank you for your donations. And a shout out for happy birthday to Chris, another year around the sun. Love, Dina. Where is he? Happy 72nd birthday. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. So nobody knows this, but because you may know that I'm going to Israel. I'm leaving on Sunday the 17th and coming back on the eve of Mushu Jew, the 24th. We had a meeting today of the people that are going on the trip, the rabbis from around the country, and we found out that we are welcome to bring items with us, but the whole bag has to be the same thing because other rabbis going or other groups have been almost not allowed to take the items that they painstakingly collected. So I'm going to buy whatever number of socks, and I encourage you to also buy socks because the soldiers just don't have the socks they need. When I'm there, I'm going to help people that are feeding the soldiers, but to go, if I have a receipt for wool socks, not like what we might wear to the gym, but obviously they're outside, we're just in a gym or walking. So if you are able and predisposed to do this, then you can bring the service, the deadline would be next Friday at services. So bring your good wishes for the happy couple and bring a pair of socks. And I'll deliver it happily. I have a friend that runs a luggage store, so he's gonna give me an old but still working piece of luggage, he said. So I'm happy to be the emissary, and then we'll leave the luggage in Israel. All right. We continue now with page 15, Shiru Ladonai.
Shiru going to continue on page 24 with Shalom Aleichem. And you can, if you can, maybe stand up and put your arms around each other. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem, Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi
Take a deep breath, appreciate the beauty of the moment. Thank you for that beautiful music. So what we're going to do now is something different than usual, because usually we only have Shabbat candles. So everybody that's here who has a menorah up front, or if you're sitting with someone that did put one up front, then either if it's yours or you're bringing a friend or your spouse or partner, so come up and stand behind yours. And I'd like Chris to come forward at the same time. Should I just go ahead? Like first? Everybody in position? You only need your shamash lit. There's someone who's not, so I'm waiting. I got the bimah under control. Okay, don't light except for the last shamash. A Hanukkah candle lighting. Praise to you, Adonai, ruler of the universe, creator of darkness and light. We sing of your glory, Lador Vador, from generation to generation, in quiet prayer and in roaring celebration. Tonight, as we light the candles, we remember that even a dark, desecrated place can be rededicated to you. There is nowhere your light does not reach, no darkness that is beyond you. The cracks in our broken hearts let the light in. They make space for growth, renewal, and healing. This Hanukkah, we rededicate ourselves to you in worship and in study, in thought and in deed, in joy and in hardship, working towards dveikut, deepening our connection to you and to each other for all time. So before you light, Chris will do the Shabbat reading, and then I'll explain the next thing.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so that we may, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Thank you, Chris. If you would like to sing along with Sue, the blessings for Hanukkah are found on page 279. I'd ask everybody in the sanctuary to rise in any way you're able. And even if you're at home, please stand too.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam.
Good to see you.
Asher
Shanu
kitshanu
b'mitzvotav, b'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Hanukkah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim lavoteinu, bayamim hahem, ba'azman hazeh. So if you don't remember, and if you haven't lit them yet, you light them from left to right, and then we see if Sue has something else she's going to sing.
Oh, well, I'll do it from here.
Hang on. All right.
Ma'otzur Yeshuati Lechana El Shabeach Tikur Tefilati Vesham Toda Nezabeach Le'etachin Matbeach Mitzaham Nabeach Azekmor Beshir Mizmor Chanukah HaMizbeach Azekmor Beshir Mizmor Chanukah HaMizbeach.
Now Chris will bless the Shabbat candles. And he's doing this because he has a birthday this week, as was mentioned in the opening.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, God, ruler of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, and who commands us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Ya la 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 da 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 la la la. Ya la 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 da 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 la la la. Ya la 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 da 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 la la la. Ya la 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 la. Try that with me. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Eloheinu, melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la.
What a beautiful way to start Shabbat. You're all welcome to go back to your seats, and when you get there, you may be seated, and those already at your seats, please be seated. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. On my way here this afternoon, I realized this is the official holiday of our synagogue, because we are Temple Beth Or. So we have to take the message and significance of Hanukkah really to heart. We continue now with Lecha Dodi. This week we are doing stanzas 1, 2, 8, and 9. 1, 2, 8, and 9. Lecha Dodi. Oh, wait. Good question. Please, can you
20.
tell us the page? Yes.
20 and
It is
21.
on page 20. 20 and then 21.
Okay. Oops. לך לך דודי לקראת קלה פני פני שבת נקבלה לך לך דודי לקראת קלה פני פני שבת נקבלה לה לה לך לך דודי לקראת קלה פני פני שבת נקבלה לך לך דודי לקראת קלה פני פני שבת נקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד שמו לתפארת ולתהילה לה 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 לך דודי לקראת קלה פני פני שבת נקבלה לך לך דודי לקראת קלה פני פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי היא מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סופה הזה במחשבה תחילה לה 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 לך דודי לקראת קלה פני פני שבת נקבלה לך לך דודי לקראת קלה פני פני שבת נקבלה. If you feel like clapping or tapping your toes or snapping, I won't hold you back. ימין ושמאל תפרוצי את אדוני תעריצי על יד איש בן פרצי ונשמחה ונגילה לה 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 לך דודי לקראת קלה פני פני שבת נקבלה לך לך דודי לקראת קלה פני פני שבת נקבלה בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם לשמחה ובצולה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה לך לך דודי לקראת קלה פני פני שבת נקבלה לך לך דודי לקראת קלה פני פני שבת נקבלה.
Please be seated. We have one more reading before the Baruch, which is the beginning of the evening prayer, and the one I've chosen to do at this point is on page 212, page 212. On this Shabbat day, as you graciously receive our prayers, help us to hear your call. Grant us enough health to fulfill our duties and the compassion we need to attend to others. Teach us humility that we may perceive our own faults and grant us the wisdom to be forgiving of others. Yeah, you're welcome to read. Give us the courage to be true to our highest selves and the charity to see the best in those around us. Let's keep going together. Give us patience enough not to be discouraged, hope enough to overcome all fears for the future, and faith enough to know your presence. O source of blessing, look with favor upon us. May our offerings be acceptable to you. We praise you, Adonai, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'altcha levadcha b'yira na'avod. Please rise for the Baruch, page 28.
La 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 la, na 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 na, na 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 na. Na 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 na, na 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 na, na na
Please be seated as we turn to page 30 for the Hebrew reading, Ma'ariv Aravim. As is our custom, we will read it together in Hebrew, page 30. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, bechokma poteach she'arim, uvitfuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umesader et hakochavim, b'mishmorotehem berakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, Uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil bein yom uvein laila, Adonai tsebaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai ma'ariv aravim. Page 32. We talk about God's everlasting for us. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel, you could read with me if you choose, by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. I hope you're not too tired from all the up and down. Please rise one more time for the Shema. Page 34.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Please be seated. Sue will lead us in V'ahavta, page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם באמת.
Page 40.
Okay. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. La 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, Torah tehilot oseferet, Torah tehilot oseferet. Malchutecha
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מאל חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Page 42 for one of our favorites, Hashkivenu.
Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim ufros Sorry. Ushmar tzetenu uvolenu lechayim ushalom be'ata ve'adolam hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim Ata Adonai Haporei Sukkah Shalom Aleinu Ve'al kol Amo Yisrael Ve'al Yerushalayim.
Let's read the translation of what Sue just sang so beautifully, and thank you for singing along. The translation is found in the middle of page 42. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up our guardian to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. And let's throw in, we ask God to pray for peace for all of humanity. Please rise for Vishamru. That prayer is found on page 44. Page 44.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat ledorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat ledorotam berit olam. Israel, Oti leolam, Oti leolam, Oti leolam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshit yamim את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
So when we travel on an airplane, what do they say about the things that drop down from above you if in the event of a loss of cabin pressure? What do you do next? Let's say you're with somebody. Do you do the kids first?
Elderly.
No.
You do yourself first.
Okay. Leader of the school, Alyssa, the answer is?
Do yourself first.
Okay.
And then you help others.
Then you help others. So obviously there's a Torah lesson here. One of my mentors, a professor at AGU, Dr. and Professor Rabbi Ron Wolfson, taught this when I brought him to my synagogue in Boston. And it's very important that we check in with ourselves, not only feed ourselves with oxygen. Hopefully none of us have been in a terrible situation on a plane, and let's not start now, given I have a 15-hour flight coming up. But it's very important, a rabbi said to us who was preparing us for going to Israel, and we're going to see some tough things. She said on a regular basis, you need to check in with yourself and see how you're doing. You know, last night, Judy and I went to hear, as I've said, people that, you know, whose loved ones have been taken captive. And it was a lot to take in. And so I don't need to hear anything like that until we go to Israel and I go to the site of these atrocities. And one rabbi on the screen said, I'm not getting off the bus when we get to that kibbutz because I know already that that's going to be too much. So sometimes we're taught in our lives, soldier on. What is it? No pain, no gain? No, you might fall, right? Maybe when we were kids, they said, you want to run an extra mile. But in our own daily lives, when we already had enough to worry about, right? Because getting old is not easy. And whatever else you have in your life, regardless of your age, we all have something. And then we layer over, all of people here, you did a lot just to prepare for the high holidays. And then before they were even over, you know, there was a terrible, you know, massacre of our people. And other people that aren't Jews were taken to Gaza also. And so we always need to check in. And I said it to Leslie, it's the same as leadership, and to Donna and other leaders. If you're feeling stressed, someone else will run the meeting. It's the same for every other part of your life. Give a hug to the people that work really hard, huh? All right, Donna there, you're glad you have your daughter next to you? So what I want us to do in the spirit of always checking in is to pause, as has become our custom. In a moment, we'll do Adonai Sfatai, asking God for the ability to find the words to pray. But first, we're going to check in, see what's important to us, what feels to be too much. So let's take our big 30 seconds, and then Sue will start when she feels we've had enough time. And then she will lead us in the first three blessings, pages 48 through 52. And then we'll do some of the intermediate ones before she gets us out of this period by singing of peace, the Shalom Rav. So let's take a few, a little bit, and then we'll go to 46.
Okay, I'm going to sing Adonai Sifatai Tiftach. After the first time I sing it, I want you to turn to the person on your right. Give them a blessing for the week. The next time I sing it, turn to the person on your left and give them a blessing. And the last time, we'll be thanking God for something special that happened this week, something you're grateful for. Na 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 Adonai. You can just do it in your head if you don't have someone on your right. Na 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 Svatai Tiftach. Na 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 Ufi Yagid Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Give them a blessing. Person to your right. A blessing this week. A blessing of health. A blessing of love. Something you wish for them.
It's first to the right, then to the left. But if you're on the edge, then just hang on.
Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Svatai Tiftach. Na 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 Ufi Yagid Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Okay, the person on your left, bless them.
But if there are 3 of you in a row, you can't all turn to your left.
Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Svatai Tiftach. Na 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 Ufi Yagid Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Svatai Tiftach. Na 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 Ufi Yagid Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha.
We take 3 steps back to become aware of the grandeur of what's in front of us. We step forward, ready to address God and ourselves. Pages 48 through 52.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibur v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, Umevi geula livnei v'neihem leman shemo ve'ahava melech ozer u'moshia u'magen Baruch atah Adonai magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah Atah gibor le'olam Adonai mechayei hakol atah Rav lehoshia, Mashiva ruach umorid hagashem, Mechakel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar. Mi chamocha bal givurot, umido melach, melech meimit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata lechachayot hakol, baruch ata Adonai, mechaye
Hakol, page 52.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום, יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. We are going to do a selection of the prayers that are between here and Shalom Rav. We always skip over the translation of what we just sang or a reflection on the theme of holiness. You're welcome to read with me, because usually I'm just reading, and that might be a time you catch up on your naps that you might have missed during the day or since your childhood. So I can't give you all these free, moments to snooze. Page 53, we have to work for our oneg. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. So the theme of holiness is important because it informs how we're supposed to walk in the world. And Shabbat, in a way, is the way you restore yourself. Sort of like in a computer, right, Don? You can push computer reset, or you get back to the manufacturer, like how it was when it came out of the box. Well, we can't go back to how we were when we were children, but maybe we can go back now to how we might have felt at the end of last Shabbat. We were arrested, and we were here. And then Saturday, maybe some of you, were here, and we had a fun time. So it's good to remember that Shabbat serves that purpose of reconnecting with others, with God, with community. So let's read on page 54. You set aside the seventh day for your name, the pinnacle of creation, and you bless it above all other days, more sacred than all festival times. So it is written in your Torah, the heaven and the earth were finished in all their array. On the seventh day God had completed the work that had been done, ceasing then on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, and ceased from all the creative work that God had chosen to do. At the bottom, Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. So this is a week to do different readings that we don't usually do. Let's go to the top of 55, because it's nice to say the prayers that have always been in the Siddur, but our movement does a beautiful job of adding paragraphs that fit thematically with what the original prayers were. Page 55 at the top. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. We don't have to read the blessing again. We just read at the bottom of the other page. What I want to do is to go to the middle of the next page, because all of these two pages, 56 and 57, are interpretations of the same idea. So 57, you are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'elcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Next page. We want to thank God. And we've had a couple of creative prayers, but let's read the translation of the traditional one. The first couple of words are Modim anachnu lach. We thank you. Shetahu Adonai Eloheinu. You are the one who was there for our ancestors. Now the official translation. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai our God and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morn, and noon. O good one whose mercies never end, O compassionate one whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. Top of page 60, Shalom Rav. Thank you everyone for reading with me. We now will enjoy Shalom Rav. Thank you in advance to Sue Epstein.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. One more time. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon bechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon bechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
We'll give Sue a second to catch her breath. We are now going to be doing the healing prayer that is part of our service every week. A few of you gave me additional names. I will add them in the middle. I believe we're going to do the Debbie Friedman version. That text is found on page 253. And as is our custom, after I read the names that I already have, I'll ask from the pulpit to the sanctuary attendees from right to left to add other names. And if you're at home, please start putting them in the chat. And you can give support to each other. If you see someone listing themselves, send them perhaps a private message. And the point of a Mishnah Baruch is not only to ask God for assistance, but to let others in your community know that you can use an extra call, an extra, maybe a hot meal, or someone just to call you and see how you're doing. I think that's a major part of what this prayer is. Page 253.
Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
At this time, we ask for blessings of healing for Sue Rubin, who with her mom is usually here. Bracha Bat Leah, Devere Fisher, Bertha Cienfuego, Sue Craven, Jennifer Ward, Lori Sanchez, Yitzchak Ben Rivka Aryeh, our attendee from Australia, Torah Ariel Batsara, from the kibbutz that my niece was on, Alumim, Ayal Shmuel Ben Merlin, Aaron Ben Yafa, Amichai Ben Sarah, and those that are hostages and missing, Shachar Ben Shlomit, Nitai Ben Rivital, and the American former youth, the New York area of USY President Hirsch Goldberg Poland, whose parents have been in the news asking for his release, Susan Taylor, Howard Hoffman, Yardena Bat Esther, Nikki Freeman, Rachel Witt, Don Witt, Marcia Mayton, Laura Block, Lori Wiesel, Sanford Levinson, Kathy Schulteis, and Robert Hagler. In addition to two, I just say privately. You're welcome to give me other names. And I need to add two from my own list. Nancy Wergeles, a friend who was in a car accident recently, and a friend who just had surgery, Haravi Huda David Ben Sipora Ito. Are there other people, starting with the pulpit group? Okay. On the soloist side, anyone have a name they'd like to add? Okay. Anyone in the candles side, right in the middle? Thank you. Thank you. Okay. We continue with the second half, keeping in mind these people and other folks you've heard in your own neighborhood perhaps are ill. We continue with the second half of Debbie's beautiful Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Imotenu Bekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
When Sue and I worked together last year, we had a lot of these very upbeat services, but October 7th hadn't yet happened. And so now we have extra prayers that we've become accustomed to saying. So I'd ask you all to rise, and the slides for the prayers for Israel, for Israeli soldiers, and for the captives to be displayed. And when you see them, you'll see them over my shoulder. I will see them there. Let's read together. Avinu Shabbat Shamayim, stronghold and redeemer of the people Israel. Bless the state of Israel, that it may be the beginning of our redemption. Shield it with your love, spread over it the shelter of your peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them, crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace and its inhabitants with lasting joy. Now for the soldiers, if that's what's next. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham and Sarah, Isaac, Rebekah, Jacob, Leah, and Rachel, bless the fighters of the Israel Defense Forces who stand guard over our land. God, please watch over the Israeli soldiers who stand in battle on land, in the air. We need to go back to the other one. Hang on. It's just long. Sorry, guys. In the air and at sea and on the front lines and in the back, and to all the security and rescue forces. May the Holy One preserve and rescue our fighters from every trouble and distress and from every plague and illness. And may God send blessing and success to the soldiers who are still engaged in battles. May God send support and healing to the bodies and souls of those soldiers who have been injured. And may God strengthen the hearts and endurance of those still fighting during this time of crisis. May God help them to subdue our enemies, depart in peace, and return home safe and alive. And now, for the captives. May the one who blessed Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, Rebekah, Jacob, Leah, and Rachel, Bless and guard those missing from the Israel Defense Forces and the civilian captives who were all taken hostage on October 7th. May God watch over these dear ones who are in distress and pain while they are in captivity. May the prayers of this holy community help them to be granted mercy, taken out of darkness and gloom, broken free from their chains, redeemed from their ordeals, and return quickly to the comfort of their families and loved ones. Let them praise the Lord for God's perpetual love and God's wondrous deeds for humankind. And through them, let the verse from Isaiah be fulfilled, and the Lord's ransomed shall return and come shouting back to Zion. Crowned with everlasting joy, they shall attain joy and gladness, while sorrow and sighing flee. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. So the hour is late, but I want to teach a little bit about what Hanukkah is about in the eyes of the rabbis. Because what do we recall from our childhoods, and maybe when you were teaching your children, or if your children are now teaching other people's children, what comes to mind when you think of Hanukkah? And then I'm going to tell you what the Talmud says and see if we can have a full picture. And then there's a nice lesson from it as well. So if I had a kosher for Shabbat board, what would I write? What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Hanukkah?
That there used to be.
Okay, one at a time, and raise your hand so I know who's speaking. Ellie, do you have something to add?
Yeah, I got my bubble burst because I always thought that we had to go look for the oil, and there really was no people go looking for oil.
There was oil.
No, I got taught.
It's right here. There was oil, but
We didn't go looking for it, find it.
who's the we? The soldiers who were fighting to take over the temple and bring it back to a pure state, they found one little thing. So that's true. Let's go to the next person. We'll come back. Anybody else? Leslie. What?
Hanukkah,
What?
what did I think about Hanukkah?
Yeah.
Remember,
Latkes. All right, so we have oil, maybe not as much as we thought, and then latkes and oil. Okay. Anything else from that side? Donna?
Lighting the menorah.
Lighting the menorah. Okay, good. Let's get all these things out of the way, and then it'll get harder as we go. Anybody in the back? Anybody wearing red? Okay, that would be 3 of you. Up there, Dr. Ray.
Really cool songs.
Really cool songs, right? I will say they're really much cooler than they were when we were young. You know, there are a lot of other fun songs now that didn't exist. All right, anybody else? So songs, oil, latkes, lighting the candles. Presents. Who said presents? Okay, Howard. Is that because your parents aren't here and now you... That's a big thing. Okay, good. Dina. Family. And in the back, yes, please, Sydney. Chocolate money. My Zeta would say we should say guilt. Chocolate guilt. Good.
Dreidels.
And now they have Parav ones in case you're not a dairy person. Dreidels. Yes, Barry. Dreidels. Okay, so let's start with dreidels because now we want to go to a higher level. What does it say on the dreidel? What are the letters? Anybody know? We have 2 teachers here. A former teacher who teaches teachers. One at a time. Give me a letter. Gimel. Give me all the letters. The rest, 3 more. Nun. Hey. And one last one? Sheen. Joe, what was it in Israel when you were growing up instead of a sheen? Po. So it's a pay. Because in Israel, so that the letters that we grew up with in North America and anywhere but Israel, Nes Gadol Haya Sham.
There.
Everything happened there. And Joe said, when he was a kid and his name was Yosef, he said a great miracle happened here. Okay. Let's talk about what we think the miracle, well, let's do a bit more foundational work. Where in the country was the family working and living that are the heroes of the Hanukkah story? The heroes are the Maccabees, but just like the monarchy in England, they have an official name. In England, they're the Windsors. What are the people in the Hanukkah story? The Hasmoneans. Thank you, Devorah. So what was the job? What profession did the, wait, what's the name of the father, the head of the clan? Anybody? Matidyahu. I was going to give you a hint. Starts with the same letter as Laura's and my respective last names. So that is Matidyahu, or what do you think his friends called him on his softball team? Matt, maybe. Mattathias, Matidyahu. Tell me the name of one of his sons. Judah. Okay. What did Mattathias do for a living? Did he have a hardware store, a florist shop? Was he a broker? Did he sing? Was he a music therapist, a speech pathologist, anything?
He ran up a hill.
But that's not what he did for a living. Maybe he did that on the side. What did he do for a living? Did he sew names on kids' sweaters before they went to summer camp? What did he do?
Candles.
He made sandals?
Candles.
Maybe on the side. He had a much more important job. Anybody know?
And made love.
Okay, this is not a game show. Let's take answers from several people. Anybody? Now, who were the Jewish leaders before the temples were destroyed? Because after the temples, you had rabbis, so you got to decide if you wanted to be a leader.
Okay, that's the Levites.
And who? It's like a game show. And the answer is Levites and Kohanes. Yes. So the Kohanes were assisted by the Levites. And what did they do? They accepted offerings or sacrifices. That is what Mattathias and his sons did. Because Mattathias was a priest, a Kohen, that obviously his sons were. We don't know of any daughters. There were many, many sons. Judah, Jonathan are the ones I remember. There was one guy who died underneath an elephant. Maybe that's not true, but that's what they taught me in Hebrew school. So Mattathias had a job that meant that he accepted offerings from people. And what sort of things, and this is before prayer, right? Because when there was a temple, that's how you related to God. Now clearly, there was individual prayer. On Rosh Hashanah, I think it was Joe who read with Sharon, I think, the Haftorah for Rosh Hashanah. And the way that in the Torah reading, Sarah couldn't have a child, in the reading, Hannah couldn't have a child. So she sat on the curb, and that silly man who was the priest, Eli, said, you woman, you're drunk. She goes, no, idiot. She didn't say that, but that's what she was probably thinking. I'm praying to God. My heart is heavy. I can't have a child. Oh, I'm a stupid man. But he should have said it, but he didn't. He was too pompous. She prayed to God, but there wasn't communal prayer like we have. We have communal prayer because the two temples were destroyed for the second time in the year 70. As Jews say in the Common Era, our brothers and sisters who aren't Jewish, CE, they say AD. Then prayer existed. But at the time, it was only sacrifices, right? So they would bring, what sort of things were sacrifices? Then I'll speed up the pace of history here. What sort of things were brought? Latkes, sufganiot? Kids, like Chad Gadya?
Yeah.
One little kid. It could be a kid, so it could be an animal, so it could be a little animal, could be a bird. How many people here have ever been to a farm? Okay. You would bring the things you grew. And, for example, the first fruits. Anybody here planning on making a donation to the temple in December or to any of your other charities? If you do, it's because you have a good heart, and maybe it's because your CPA said it would be good to help you at this time. But first fruits are done in January, the equivalent, whenever the time that you reap your harvest. So that's what was done. They were kosher, they were analyzed in advance, they were determined what was okay. And then one day, oh wait, who had control of Israel over time? Not the Jews. It was the Assyrians. It was, giving all the dates. The Syrians, the Babylonians, the Persians, they were okay. They let the Jews come back from being kicked out. Then the Greeks under Alexander the Great, he was okay. But then when the Syrians combined, sort of a mixed leadership of the country, the Greek Syrians did not think the Jews could be good subjects. Why? because they did distinctive things. Circumcision, Shabbat, and to whatever extent they could observe the dietary laws, kashrut. They said, all right, you can't do any of those things. For the people for whom that's important, that was really a kick in the pants. But somehow they were dealing. But then one day, from the head office of the terrible regime, they sent up, what bad name could we give him? Jason. That's a good Greek Syrian name. No, no, do you have a son named Jason? Okay, sorry. And Jason Moss is the Federation Director, San Gabriel Valley. So Peter, anyone have a son named Peter? Anyone here named Peter? Okay, so Peter, his job was to take something up to the northern part of Israel, because that's where the Maccabees, the Hasmoneans, lived, and they had an altar. And in addition to all those things that were brought, like a little kid and produce, that guy, Peter, I think his middle name was Jason. No? He went up, and what did he bring? Bacon. Well, pig, right? It wasn't a football. That's already been made into something else. He brought a pig. Now, do pigs belong on the pulpit of a synagogue? No, they don't belong any more here than they did back then on an altar. So they took away those three things I mentioned, but for this, Mattathias said, enough is enough. Anyone here under 13? I don't think so. So I can tell you what really happened. Mattathias, then he said, which Jew is going to sacrifice this on the altar? And one guy must have been pretty scared. He said, oh my God, this guy's the emissary from the big bad regime. He was like, we should have like a video, like a cartoon version. And he was very scary. He must have said, okay, I'll do it. But he wasn't supposed to. It was Mattathias who accepted and offered. So maybe that's one reason Mattathias got mad, but he got mad because it's as if someone brought in a pig and someone rushed up and started doing the horror with the pig up here. That would not be okay. So Mattathias said, bye. And it says he kind of did away with the fellow. If it was a movie, maybe he'd poof, and just dissolve into a pile of dust. Then he went into the forest, and obviously their victory was sealed, because we're celebrating Hanukkah and their victory, whatever amount of oil they found. What do you think was heroic there? And then I'm going to read this, and then we'll move on to Sufganiyot. Why do you think Hanukkah, and the educators in the room know, that if all you teach is, you had a little dreidel, you made it out of, who makes a dreidel out of clay? Right? Maybe for decorative purposes, it would never spin. So what's the point of teaching kids if you teach them the same thing every year, right? I remember a couple things from my master's in education at the school that Laura and I went to back a long time ago. It's called the spiral curriculum. So every year you have to teach the same thing, but at a level that relates to where the kids are. So none of us are kids. Our brains are finished growing, all of us. So what do you think the point of the story is? Not just to eat. That's a way to have friends over.
Remember.
What are we remembering? I like taking things from other Jewish holidays and see how they apply to the one we're at. So at Purim, we say, Zachor, Zecher. We have to remember what Amalek did, right? Amalek killed the women and the children at the back of the crowd. Good, so that's a Jewish thing. We have to remember the people that tried to hurt us. That fits with Hanukkah, good. And we do the same thing at Passover. Good, anything else from this holiday or another that you think applies? Were you scratching your head or you were answering?
Scratching my head.
Okay, sorry. It's like at an auction, you have to be careful. Anybody? If you had to teach your own children or grandchildren, or write a letter to people and say this, if Monty Hall was still alive and he came here today and gave you kosher for Shabbat money, if you can answer the question, what lesson would an adult feel is connected to the Passover, to the Hanukkah story? What was the miracle? The little bit of oil? Maybe it happened. Leslie? Good. So now we're going to make a connection to today. So all of us remember the Six-Day War. Maybe you're the youngest one here. I was a kid. You weren't born in the Six-Day War in 1967. And that was when Israel was seen as David against Goliath, and somehow they won. And they took all this extra land so people could breathe. The width of the country went from this to this. I think the miracle of Hanukkah is that the few beat the many, that everybody listened to the Father, because they said, this is, and the Father knew what he stood for. And he must have taught his sons, because they didn't have to have a whole family meeting. When he said it, they did it because they and we have to know what lines, when crossed, will cause us to spring to action. It's not enough just to be a talker. At some point, you have to be a doer. And I think that's the stage we're at with where we are with the situation, with the hostages, and with our ability to help the people whose loved ones were killed on October 7th. The modern day Maccabees are people that fought back during the October 7th events. We heard one of those last night. Don't need to tell you what he did, but he told us, so he survived. And they introduced him as such. He's our Maccabee because he fought back, and he fought, he was in the country visiting. He lives in San Francisco, but because he had been in Israel at the time and had grown up there, he did what he needed to do. I think we all have to know what that line is that will cause us to act. And I think that knowing what Hanukkah is really about will help us know that. A tiny piece, I know I'm way over, but I won't be speaking in 2 weeks because I'll be in Israel. So if you look at the menorah, you have a choice. Now I'm using up Alyssa's time. Then it'll be easier. So how many lights do we start with on the first day? I'm going right to the end of the teaching. Do you start with 8? Do you start with 1? 1. Obviously 1. The reasoning, so Alyssa and Robert, you were the ones most recently on a college campus. What's the name of the Jewish office? Shammai or Hillel? Which? It's obvious, Hillel, right. So in the Talmud, whenever Shammai and Hillel debated, who won? Hillel won all the time. So this is the reasoning. So the question is, do you start with 8 and go to 1? You go to 1 and go to 8. Obviously it's 1 to 8. But they said, well, why do you say those things? So they didn't decide right away what the answer would be. So Shammai, who said 8 to 1, we start wanting to know how many days of light lay ahead of you. So you come in the first day, maybe your head's all in the clouds. Oh, we have an 8-day holiday coming. This is great. And Hillel said, but if you start with 1, then you know, oh, 1 day has passed. In case you're forgetting, like, what the next day is, the second day. So in case you have some gifts hidden somewhere in your house, you don't remember where they are, then you know you have a certain number of days to find them, or to thank the people that invite you to parties. But that wasn't convincing for the rabbis. So they said, okay, we need better reasons. So Shammai said, oh, we missed Sukkot, the year the Maccabees were fighting, right? Because it's like we're observing Hanukkah now, and Kislev, Sukkot was, as we know, around October 7th. So they missed Sukkot. Sukkot is 8 days. Hanukkah is 8 days. Let's see how Sukkot is observed when there are sacrifices. They went down one by one, whatever the number. I think it was 15. So, okay, then that's what we're going to do. Yeah, that didn't work for Hillel, because really, this is going to be a math-based reason for doing Jewish ritual. Yay, let's be Jews. We're good at math. Yeah, that's not so compelling. If it works for you and you're a science-based person, run with it. But that didn't get Shammai the name of all the Jewish campus houses. So Hillel said, first of all, what is it called when you come up to get an aliyah, which some people in the room will get next Friday? What's it called when you... That's what the event is. What is it called when anybody gets called up? An aliyah. What does an aliyah mean? Howard Yosef, to go up, right. And in modern Hebrew, an elevator is a ma'alit. So it means it's an upward trend, right? So Hillel said, ma'alin ba'kodesh, we go up in holiness, ve'ein moridin. The goal of Jewish life is to go up in holiness, not to go down. So we who teach children, Sunday's just for fun. But when we have a chance to tell our own kids or the kids that are given to us to teach, we have to help them see that the goal is to bring holiness into all of our lives. I didn't share what I wrote early this morning about what the the families taught us. But I will be going to visit them. There's a group, it's called, then I'll be done, Hostage and Missing Persons Forum. It's to give social service, like mental health support, and maybe if they need money, it's so if you have the ability, I can give you another time the place to go. Or for Facebook friends, I put the address from something I took a picture of. But they just want to know that the loved ones aren't forgotten. So, an aunt of a person who's been taken, she said, we're full of hope. It's the only way we can go on. So whatever your approach, to have hope, to help people keep this going, or just to be sure that you stand up and let their names be told and share on social media, some of you are, and just let the world know that we haven't forgotten, because Jews want to bring holiness into the world. And one way is, and it's in the Ashrei, Matira Surim, to redeem captives. So that's the thing that God did, and we're supposed to act godly whenever we can. Maybe, Alyssa, you have 2 minutes left for 2 weeks from now. And next week it'll be Torah reading, so I'm good for the next 3 weeks. Thank you, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Let me go back to the order here. So what can we... Go ahead.
Do you want me to do the
Sue
Kindle a
is going to
Candle?
sing Kindle a Candle.
Just spoke about light. So every time I sing something, you're going to sing, Kindle a candle of light. Try that.
Kindle a candle of light.
Okay. 2,000 years ago, Judah the sun, kindle a candle of light. Fought a great fight in Jerusalem, kindle a candle of light. Judah defeated the enemy, kindle a candle of light. Then all of the Jews in the city were free, kindle a candle of light. Kindle a candle of Hanukkah, kindle a candle tonight. Kindle a candle on the menorah, kindle a candle of light. One vessel of purified oil was found. Your turn. Kindle a
Candle of light.
The rest had been scattered all over the ground. Your turn. Kindle a candle of light. The oil provided the temple with light. Kindle a candle of light. The miracle was that it lasted 8 nights. Kindle a candle of light. Kindle a candle of Hanukkah, kindle a candle tonight. Kindle a candle on the menorah, kindle a candle of light. That's 1. Kindle a candle of light. That's 2. Kindle a candle of light. That's 3. Kindle a candle of light. That's kindle a candle of light. That's 5. Kindle a candle of light. That's 6. Kindle a candle of light. That's kindle a candle of light. That's 8.
Glad you were here. This is beautiful. It's been a great service. I will now open the ark. Please rise for Eleno, page 282.
Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, lateit gedula leotzer reshit, shelo asani kugoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol ha'olam. ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
few names to mention, so you're welcome to be seated. I'll ask you to rise for the Kaddish in just a short time. I'm sorry to have to announce that a very well-known rabbi who is the president of Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute for Religion, Rabbi David Ellenson, PhD, he died suddenly just 2 days ago. He was a brilliant man. I was honored to have him as a professor. He did some life cycle events for our family, so I knew him individually, but I had so much respect for him, and he died just the other day. And maybe you have some people on your feed on Facebook, and his death has really left a big hole in the greater Jewish world, but especially in the Reform movement, where he led our movement for 12 years. And then when the person who succeeded him died suddenly, he came back. He was very devoted, and he'll really be missed. And if you don't know who he was, just Google Rabbi David Ellenson. You'll learn something, be better for it. May his memory be for a blessing. We're remembering the people in the Shiva and Shloshim period, Sarah Braver, and who friend of Ted and Terry Lavut, and Stephen Richman, cousin of Bill Richman. The Kaddish period folks are as follows, the Kaddish of the year. Excuse me. Allegra Gordon, Cyrus Chady, May Salinger, Sally Kravitz, Myron Crystal, Molly Abraham, Phyllis Royce, Barbara Milton, and Sandy Zwern. Myron Aschenbach, David Blochtine, Robbie Bush, Rita Manning, Jack Pivo, Harley Rockoff, Lily Kramer, John Emery, Leo Schmidt, and Robin Smith. Jeffrey John Palmer, Franz Strauss, Adi Vital Kaplun, Dr. Elliot Berman, Dr. Edwin Brockman, Henry Diamond, and Nancy Anderson. This week, yard sites for the following people are being observed: Aaron Turak, Lillian Pogrund, Nancy H. Brenes Rios, Arthur Werlin, Arthur Kraus, Toby Edna Zimmerman, Nechama Fragoso, Sidney Rosenstein, Lena Kaplan, Herbert Wilzig, Belle Spiro Austin, Ida Rosen, Jacob Goldman, Herbert Goldmark, Herman Winograd, Gerald Robinson, William Davis, Joyce Glassman, Lillian Meisler Deslandis, and Edward A. Kalovich Helly. Are there people here who have other loved ones they'd like to add?
Jeannie Lockman.
Anybody else? So, in order to bring honor to their names and of Rabbi Ellenson, sadly of blessed memory, I ask you to rise for the mourner's Kaddish. It is found on page 294. In addition, without having the names this week of the soldiers in Israel that have been killed in this war, we ask for their souls to rest in peace as well. Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah. V'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yomechon u'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'vizban kari v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam omei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpo'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudasha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata damiram b'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Please remain standing for Kiddush, page 4 and 5. I want to thank Leslie and Terry, who worked so diligently to be sure that the gift shop is well stocked and then, I would say manned, but that's not right. Penny. Oh my God, sorry. Penny. Thank you both. I was looking at the right people. I wasn't looking in the air, so I apologize. They worked very hard, and I'm glad that they did so because all of our homes are more full of Hanukkah items and joy. And I am now the owner of a beautiful Hanukkah tie. I encourage everyone who wears shirts with collars to get them. But if you don't, it's fine. But anyway, thank you very much. We continue now with the Kiddush. ויהי בוקר יום השישי, ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, יכלים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שווה מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. חבריי, my friends, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron le'maseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehillah למקראי קודש, זכר לציון מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל עמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה son inchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat amen.
So I have to thank Jody, who works with us on the weekend, for two things. Number one, she just gave me wine. And number two, for the people at home, I'm not sure if you can see it, maybe they could pan over. We have the first annual appearance of the Hanukkah menorah bear. So I hope this becomes a custom and we're able to add more smiles and joy. Maybe we'll, do they have them for other holidays? Maybe. That's a nice touch. It's good to smile and be silly, so thank you. We now are ready for the motzi. Is there anybody here who has anything good that's happened in the past, let's say 5 years? 2 years? Anybody meet and get engaged in the past 2 years? Oh, but you're going to be doing motzi next week. Okay, sorry. Wait, your birthday's on Sunday? All right, so I guess you have to come up. My daughter Zilana was 2 days ago, but she's not here. So, Alyssa, you have to represent all the people who have birthdays in the first 15 days of December. 18 days. Oh, 18? Oh, sorry. I did quick math. The challah is on a stand of its own. She could start it.
Oh, you want me to start it? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz avo.
Now you both get first dibs on the challah. We are going to be concluding with Light One Candle, which is a powerful anthem.
And it's on your song sheet.
It is actually on your song sheet. The first time I heard this sung by Peter, Paul, and Mary was in the National Mall when we were gathered in the late 80s to try to get attention shining on the Jews of the Soviet Union that couldn't get out. And Peter, Paul, guys, we're not done. And Peter, Paul, and Mary had just come back from Russia and they were inspired and they wrote this song to help us remember that the holiday of Temple Beth Or, of shining light, is really what we're all about. Thank you to Sue and Dr. Ray. Thank you to everyone here who plays a big part in making us a really freilich and down-to-earth congregation. Belt it out, light one candle. The words are here.
Light one candle for the Maccabee children. Give thanks that their light didn't die. Light one candle for the pain they endured when their right to exist was denied. And light one candle for the terrible sacrifice justice and freedom demand. But light one candle for the wisdom to know when the peacemaker's time is at hand. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Light one candle for the strength that we need to never become our own foe. And light one candle for those who are suffering pain we learned so long ago. Light one candle for all we believe in, that anger won't tear us apart. And light one candle to find us together with peace as a song in our hearts. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. What is the memory that's valued so highly? We keep it alive in that flame. What's the commitment to those who have died, that we cry out they've not died in vain? We have come this far, always believing that justice would somehow prevail. This is the burden and this is the promise, and this is why we will not fail. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years, so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. One more time. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out, don't let the light go out, don't let the light go out.
We have been ending with Hatikva. So I'm sorry that I turned off my mic. We conclude with Hatikva. It's been our custom. I know we're late. Oh, this is what we're doing. So Hatikva.
Kol alevav emima, nefesh Yehudi homiya, vate Mizrach kadima, ayin letzion Sophia.
Thank you, Sue, Dr. A, Jody, everybody. Thank you for being here. Shabbat Shalom. Remember to bring wool socks by next Friday. Shabbat Shalom. Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.